Hey people, what's up? I just want to show you something I've been wanting to go a little bit more in detail about, and that's my kayak. I love this kayak. I've been out on it only 3 or 4 times, but it's a great kayak, and I just want to show it to you and tell you just all about it and what I think about it. So here it is. So what you're looking at is the Old Town Vapor 10 XT. Holds 325 pounds and it's of course 10 foot. Back here, we'll start at the back and work our way up. You got the front and back carry handle, and it's not the type of strings, it's like a hard kind that's actually made into the kayak. Then here is your storage compartment. It's not real big, it's probably about 8 inches deep by 14 inches long. I'm not going to quote the exact measurements because I don't know them. But the Angler version, I believe, is one of the only ones that comes with this actual hatch. The other ones you have to buy it separately. And then you have 2 flush mount rod holders. Right there. Right there. You can buy these rod holders separately. If you have the kayak without them, you can buy these at Walmart for like $7. But it came with the kayak. And then you've noticed this line probably by now, which is the anchor trolley system. And here's one thing I don't like about it. It only goes this far. So I'm going to put another anchor trolley system, or extend this one and go from there to up to there. Because if I want to face upstream, I can't do it with this anchor trolley. But it's still great just to anchor you down from the wind and slow moving water, or lakes that's like you're around wind or anything like that. So on up here to the seat, I believe the Angler is the only version that comes with this seat. All the other ones come without the padding on it. You can buy the padding separately, and I believe the padding is like $50. But like I said, the Angler version comes with it already on there, pre-installed. You adjust the seat with this cord, which runs up underneath there, and it goes up to this. And then there's a cleat there that you put the cord into, and it keeps the back of the seat where you want it. And it'll lay all the way back, hit back here if you wanted it to, or it could go up even more. But I like it sitting almost straight up, because when you sit back in it, it leans back a little bit where the cord stretches. But yeah, it's a pretty firm seat, but it does have enough padding to make it comfortable. I've stayed in this for 3 or 4 hours, and I don't have any complaints. Also, if we go into the inside of the kayak, if I can get enough light, you can see the foot braces, which are adjustable. All you gotta do is just pull it back, push it forward. I keep mine all the way forward because I'm 6'4", and it's really comfortable. Also, you'll notice here, it's got the thigh pads, so your legs lean up against this and this instead of leaning up against the plastic where it'd be uncomfortable. Also, you're probably wondering what this is. And this is just one of the greatest things I believe they put on the kayak, even though it's so simple. It took me forever to realize what it was, but it's a storage spot. It's to put just anything you need to store there for quick access. What I like to do, I put my multi-tool in there, because that's probably the #1 thing I use while I'm on my kayak. And you just put it in there, and then under here, it's got one of those little adjustable things, and you can adjust it however tight you need it. I keep it almost all the way tight for my multi-tool. Then if you come on up here, you have the oar lock, or oar holder, whatever you want to call it. My oar is the Carlisle Day Tripper. Sorry about that. It's made by Old Town also, so it kind of goes with the kayak. I didn't even know that till after I bought it. But it has a bungee here that keeps the oar in place. So you sit it into the notches, snap that over, and it's not going anywhere. I usually don't even use this if I'm fishing. I just sit the oar up there because these notches are almost as deep as the oar is thick, so it sits down in there good. Moving on up, you got 2 little work areas to put maybe like your fishing hooks and stuff in. Got a cup holder there, along with the cup holder in the seat, which is really not a good place to put your cup if you're a guy, because it's kind of uncomfortable. So I always just use the one up here. And move on up a little bit more. You got bungee cords up here for storage. I never really find a need for these, but I'm sure if you want to put a fishing rod through it or something somehow, you could do that. Maybe a backup paddle, you could put it through there, like just a small paddle. So that's pretty much all the details about the kayak. This kayak tracks great, and it turns fairly easily for how well it tracks. I weigh 260 pounds myself, and this kayak floats well for me. My cousin, he weighs almost 200 pounds. I believe he weighs like 180, and it sits in the water about the same as it does with him as it does with me. We actually both made it in this kayak together and went down the river in it a little bit. I just sat in the seat and I hung my legs out the side, and then he sat up here and hung his legs over the front, and we wasn't really that squashed or anything, but we made it quite a ways down the river, and the water was riding in it about up to here with 420 pounds, so that's 100 pounds over the maximum capacity for this, and it had no problem at all. I mean, the water was way up there on it, but it wasn't leaking into the kayak or anything, and boats went by, no water ever got into the kayak. So you could definitely weigh 325 pounds and have no problems going in this. With just me in it though, I weigh 250 pounds, or 260 I mean. The water comes about an inch below the Old Town sign, and just along up, it goes underneath the bolts. The water does, whenever I'm in it. But yeah, great kayak, great for lakes, rivers, streams, everything. I wouldn't really want to use it in the ocean just because the cockpit in this is so big that water would splash in very easily from waves, unless you had a spray skirt, but I still would rather just use a sit on top for the ocean. That's another thing I want to talk about. The cockpit is just one of the biggest cockpits I've seen. And whenever you're paddling, the water from the oar will drip down, and it does get a little bit in there. If you're careful, you won't get any in there, but it doesn't really bother me, so I just let it splash in. Let me undo this here. We'll flip over the kayak. The seat does fold down. So if we flip it over, you can tell this is why it tracks so great. It has goes flat, then it comes out like that, as you can tell, and that makes it track very great. And then down here on the bottom, it's flat near where the seat is with just a little bit of a V. And then as you get toward up front, it goes into a V again. But that makes it great, a great tracking kayak, and it's a pretty fast kayak for its size. That's one reason I like this kayak. Another reason, the plastic on it's fairly thick and durable feeling. I have scraped it up on some rocks. I had no problems. But back here in the back, this seems to be the weakest spot. You can bend that up, but I don't think it really matters. It's still a real solid kayak. One thing I hate about it, they put the drain plug right here. I don't know why you'd want a drain plug in that position. I mean, it has the foam in the front and the back. Like, you see that piece up there? It has the front foam in the front and back, so if you sink it, that it won't actually sink. But I think they should have put a drain plug right around here, or scooted that handle up some way and put a drain plug right there, because it's just a horrible pain to drain all the water out of this. I mean, I've done it several times because I have flipped this a bunch just for the fun of it. Never flipped it on accident. But yeah, it's just horrible to get the water out of it. Also, I kind of want to talk about the ways you can sit in this kayak. Let me move my vest out of the way there. So there's many ways you can sit into this kayak. You can sit in it like a normal kayak. So you can sit in it just like a normal kayak like this with your feet on the pegs. You can take them off the pegs, stretch them way out up there. And remember, I'm 6'4", and my feet don't hit the foam or anything. And then usually when I'm fishing, I just sit in it like this. It's very comfortable. You can tell the kayak's really deep because I wear a size 16 shoe. These is 14s, but they fit because they're about the same size as all the other 16s I've had. And my foot will fit straight up in there. So it's probably about an 18-inch deep kayak. It's really deep up here. Also, it's stable enough you can put your feet up there if you want. I know a lot of sit inside kayaks, if you try to put your feet up there, you'd lose balance and flip over. One way I like to fish a whole lot is I like to hang my feet off the side like this right into the water, and it's really comfortable. Another thing you can actually do in this kayak if you want to, I've done it several times going down the river, I'll just hang my feet off into the water like this right off the side of the kayak. You gotta be careful though turning back around. Actually, there was one time I flipped it, and that is when I was sitting like this and I was fishing. I didn't pay much attention. I had everything in the storage compartment though, so it didn't really matter, I guess. And I was swimming that day anyway. But I was sitting like this and I went up, turned around real fast like that, and I flipped over. So if you're sitting over like this, you do need to turn over real slow and do it like this. And when I paddle, I also usually sit like this because this gives you the most stability. But yeah, you can sit pretty much any way that you can sit on a sit-on-top kayak in this kayak. Also, I've actually stood up in it before. You couldn't stand up in it and fish, but it's pretty hard to stand up in it when you're actually on the water. But you can get, if you can stand up on the seat, you can stand up in it like this in the water, and it'll wobble like this on you, and it'd probably flip on you too if you wasn't very careful. But here's just another quick look at the kayak. It's the exact same kayak as the Old Town Trip Angler 10XT, except the storage hatch on the back is different. On the 10XT it actually locks. This one just snaps shut with a bungee. But on the 10XT it's cut off from here on the way back, and then that gives you the whole back of the kayak for storage. This one just gives you that little spot. So I ended up getting this in like $200 off just because it was an old model and it had a couple scratches on it from storage, which I didn't mind at all, and it's been a great kayak so far. I really was going to go out on the water today, but my mom's car wouldn't start, so I couldn't go. I do have a camera mount that I made for it, as you can see in some of my other videos, and that's what I was going to use today, but I never got the chance to. So just keep looking for more videos to come. I'll have the video up, and that's my kayak.